Today's shiur will be, did astrology play a role in the Exodus? But before we get to that, Yehuda Leib asked me a very good question. In yesterday's Haftorah that we read, God tells the prophet Malachi, Ki ani Hashem lo shaniti, I, God, don't change. And you, the children of Yaakov, will not be destroyed. I, God, don't change. So Yehuda asked, what do you mean God doesn't change? We see that sometimes God does change. What? What does it mean he doesn't change? So Yehuda, your question is asked by the Radak. How could God tell the prophet Malachi yesterday, Ki ani Hashem lo shaniti, I, God, don't change? So Yehuda, the Radak asked your question, and he says, I, Hashem, don't change my goal. I can change my method, but I don't change my goal. What's my goal? That you are my chosen nation. Wow. So therefore, when God punishes us, chas v'sholem, it's only to purify us, to fulfill our destiny. So it looks like he changes, but he doesn't. He has one goal. What's his goal? That we are his chosen nation. So therefore, God's punishment is only to purify us, to fulfill our destiny. And this answers a question that you asked me by the Haftorah in Parshas Zohar. When God says to the prophet Shmuel, Nechamti, Nechamti, what does Nechamti mean? I regret that I made Shaul the king of Israel. That's what he tells Samuel. Nechamti ki amlachti et Shaul HaMelech. This is in the Haftorah, in the book of Samuel 15. I regret that I made Shaul king of Israel. And later on, he says that God says, Netzach Yisrael lo yishakev v'lo yinachem. That God is not a human being and that God doesn't regret. So I'm all mixed up, Elishev. In the beginning, God says, I regret that I made Shaul king, in the book of Samuel 15. And later on, God says, I'm not a human being and I don't regret. Right? So it looks like, so the same question that Yehuda Leib asked, the Radak asked again, and he answers as follows. Hashem's purpose is the same. Hashem desires only good for us. It's because God doesn't change his goal for us. That change in us from good to evil makes God change from Rachamim to Din. But it's the very same purpose. To bring us close to God for eternity. The easy way or the hard way. So God really doesn't change. His purpose remains the same. That we are his chosen people and to bring us close to him forever. But his method changes. If we change our behavior, God has to change his method. But the purpose is the same, Yehuda. His purpose is the same, to bring us close to him for eternity. Sometimes it works with Rachamim, and chas v'sholem, sometimes it works with Din, but it's the same goal. We are his eternal chosen people. You can pay me now, you can pay me the easy way or the hard way, okay? So this regrets that he has to change from Rachamim to Din, Yehuda, but his purpose doesn't change. His purpose is that we must be his eternal people forever, to bring us close for eternity. His methods changes depending on our behavior. Sometimes he uses Rachamim, and sometimes Chas v'Sholom Din. But the end game is the same. So your Kashi Yehuda Leib was asked by the Radak in the 1200s. Don't you see, Ruvain? He changes, but he doesn't change. The method changes, the goal remains the same.
Sometimes he has to give a kiss, and sometimes he has to give a pie.
That's right. Sometimes it's tender love, and sometimes it's tough love, but it's all love.
If he never makes a mistake,
he doesn't make a mistake.
If he never makes a mistake, he says it's perfect, how come he can regret?
So that's the idea. He regrets because we have free will, Alan. I don't want to get off. He adjusts to our behavior. His purpose is the same. But sometimes it could be done with a knip and sometimes with a patch. I would say tender love or tough love. It's all love.
Rabbi, how can he regret when he never makes a mistake?
Because we have free will. So therefore, the purpose remains the same, Maddie. to be close to him forever. How we get there depends on our behavior, whether it's tender love or tough love, rachamim or din. So he doesn't change, because the goal and the purpose of Ephraim is the same. The method changes because we have free will, but the end game, Yehuda, is the same. It's all love, Alfie. Tender love or tough love, but it's all love. You can do the easy way, you can do the hard way, but we're going to get there. What's there? To be bound with him for eternal life. Good. So how we get there, Alan, depends on our behavior. He doesn't change his purpose and end game. I'm glad Yehuda asked me this question. So I did research, and the Radak in the year 1263 asked Yehuda Leib's question. Yechiel, aren't you glad you came today? I'm glad. Yeah. But I don't want to get Sharona sidetracked. So this, here is Yingli, how God changes, he doesn't change. The goal, the purpose is the same, that we are his eternal chosen people forever in Olam Haba. How we get there depends on my behavior. Sometimes it's done with rachamim, a kiss, and sometimes with a patch, lo yaleinu. But the purpose and the goal, Reuven, is the same. So God, don't change. My methods have to change, Shelley, depending on my behavior. But, okay, thank you, Yehuda. Now let's get to the topic at hand. Did astrology, Elisheva, play a role in the Exodus? Astrology in the Exodus? Say what? Well, let's go to side number 1. Side number 1, Pasuk Yud. The first of the wide lines. Vayoymah aleim. Pharaoh said to them, who's them? Moses and Aaron on side number 1. You have that, Chava? Yichein Hashem imachem. So should God be with you. Kasha shalach eschem destapchem. You should live so long. I'll never let you out. He's teasing them. Ru, see, you have that from. Kira neget penechem. Evil is against you. I'm warning you, don't leave Cairo. Because if you leave Cairo, the boogeyman is going to get you. Ra is going to get you. Ephraim, who's that? Look at Rashi, please. The bottom on the right side, Chaim. You have that? We're dedicating the Shir, we said, to Leila Nishma's Fred Ben Jules. Leila Nishmato. So Chaim, you're doing kibbut of aim after death now. Now look at the bottom Rashi. You see that? On the right side, Chava. Ru kira neget penechem. The bottom Rashi on the right side.
Just the one where it's in yellow.
I have it in yellow. Koichav echad. Yes, there is a certain star, says Rashi. Alan, you have that? Top Rashi. There's a certain star, sheshmoi Ra. It's called Ra. Did you know that? The top Rashi on the left column. Amalehem Paro. Paro says to Moses and Aaron, Rayani, I see, ba'atztegnidu sheli. What does that mean? You see that top Rashi there on the left side? It's ba'atztegnidu sheli in astrology. Astrology. He went to Jean Dixon. Remember her? He went to Jean Dixon. I'm not joking. Koichav. You know, Ronald Reagan wouldn't make a move without Jean Dixon. So Pharaoh consulted Atztegnidu Sheli. David, you have that? Oitoi Kochav, this certain star, Ola Lakratchem Bamidbor. There's a certain star, astrological sign that's going against you in the Midbar, Vahu Siman Dam Vahariga. And I warn you, Jews, if you go into the desert, you're going to have bloodshed and you'll be wiped out. Yiddish? Ukeshachot Yisrael be'egel, when the Jewish people sinned with the golden calf, ubikesh HaKadosh Baruch Hu lahargam, and God wanted to what? Kill them. Oma Moshe b'tfilosai. What did Moshe say in his prayer? Lama yomru mitzrayim leima bara etziyam. God, you can't destroy them because Pharaoh's going to gloat. I told you so. Why will Egypt say you took them out with the evil star Ra? Zuhu shamalem. This is what Pharaoh warned us. Ru'u kira neget penechem. There's evil against you. So Pharaoh saw astrology works. The crystal ball. Pharaoh saw that in the Midbar there's going to be killing and bloodshed for us when we sin with the golden calf. So Moshe said, God, you can't destroy them because Pharaoh's going to say, I told you so. Miyad, Yehuda, as soon as Moses said that, Vayenochem Hashem halara, God regretted. Yehuda, again, you see the Rashi? Vayenochem Hashem halara, and God regretted. I thought God doesn't regret, David. Vayenochem Hashem halara, so God regretted. V'hofach et adam l'dam mila. But Pharaoh saw in the astrological side there's going to be blood. So what happened to the blood? The blood became dam mila. What does that mean? Shemo Yeshua otam. For 40 years in the desert, the Jews didn't circumcise their kids. Do you know that? Chaim, why not? Because it was danger. Danger, Mr. Robinson. Danger, danger. They didn't know when they had to pack up, follow that cloud. You're in the middle of cutting, follow that cloud. Drop everything, so it's dangerous. I didn't circumcise their kids in the desert. It was dangerous.
How about in Mitzrayim?
In Mitzrayim, they did on the 10th of Nisan. For 210 years, they didn't do it. On the 10th of Nisan, they did it when they took the Korban Pesach. So Yeshua ben Nun circumcised them. V'zeu she'amar, in Joshua 5, Hayoim galoti et cherpas Mitzrayim aleichem. In Joshua 5, he says, today I have removed the shame and the taunt of Egypt from you. Because the entire 40 years in the desert, Elisheva, the Mitzrim kept sending us SMSs and WhatsApp. The Egyptians kept texting us, Chanoch, the evil star is going to get you. Blood, death. For 40 years they were taunting us with SMS and WhatsApp. You hear this? The Mitzrim were gloating and mocking. It was only when Yeshua ben Nun circumcised the Jews when they crossed into Eretz Yisrael, he says, today I have removed the shame and the taunt of the Mitzrim. Now the Mitzrim will see that the blood was not your death, the blood was what? Brit Milah. But we see something amazing, Reuven, that God had to adjust his plan to go to plan B and not destroy us for the Egel, just so Pharaoh and the Mitzrim should not mock and gloat. So it looks like God changed his mind. Again, his purpose doesn't change. Right?
Yes.
If God would have destroyed us, chas v'sholom, the neshama would be for him forever. The game is the same. The end goal of frying is remain. The method changes. The method has to change because what, Ephraim? We have free will. To go the rachamim route, or chas v'sholom to go what? The din route, lo yaleinu. But the end game is the same. We are bound to him for eternity. How we get there depends on my behavior. Whether it's a kiss or a smack. But the purpose is unchangeable. Now, what is astrology? That Pharaoh knew what's going on, and therefore the Jews, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, could not destroy the Jewish people for the Chet HaEgel, even though they deserved it? What is this crystal ball business? What is it? And how does it work? And why is it forbidden? If it's true, Aram, why can't we use it? So if you go to side number 2, okay, you see side number 2? Everyone have a paper?
The one that has the English on it.
The one that has the English. Baruch Hashem, we have the English. Oh. Now, Rabbi Akiva, see that? Rabbi Akiva ain't mazel Yisrael. The Jewish people are not influenced by what? Astrology. What does mazal mean? Doesn't mean luck. The word mazal comes from the word nozel. What does nozel mean? Go with the flow? Go with the flow? Every person, welcome back Elisheva, good to see you. Every person is born with a spiritual flow. The word mazal means nozel, flow. Rabbi Akiva says, Ein mazel Yisrael. You hear this? The Jewish people are not under what? But we just saw that they are, Yehuda, mixed up. Pharaoh said you are under the zodiac, evil. The evil star is going to get you. And here Rabbi Akiva says, forget about it, Pharaoh. Alfie, I'm mixed up. Let's go slow. Side number 2, Rabbi Akiva ain't mazel Yisrael. What? I am reading side number 2. See that? Rabbi Akiva ain't mazel Yisrael on the right side. You have it? Yes, no, maybe? Maddie, you have it? Rabbi Akiva ain't mazel Yisrael. So why were we worried about the evil star? Why did God have to change his tactics if we're not under the astrological signs anyway? So take a look. Rabbi Akiva Havale Brata. Rabbi Akiva had a daughter. Yiddish, Amrele Kaldoya. What's it? Nancy Reagan. No, not Nancy Reagan. Gene Dixon told him that the day that your daughter is going to get married, a snake will bite her and she will die. Do you see that? Yeah. David. Gene Dixon told Rabbi Akiva, the day your daughter enters the bridal chamber, she's going to be bit by a snake and she will die. Rabbi Akiva was very worried over the matter. Why was he worried? Why was he worried if he said, ain't mazel Yisrael? Just because Gene Dixon said that she saw in the stars that the daughter will get bit by a snake, Rabbi Akiva was very worried. On the day of her wedding, what happened, Yehuda? She had an itch. I guess she didn't use Head and Shoulders, before the wedding. She had an itch, so she took out the brooch from her wedding crown to scratch herself and stuck it in the wall. It happened that when she did so, the needle lodged in the eye of the snake, killing it.
Wow.
You hear this?
Yeah.
It's a good thing she had an itch.
That's a miracle.
Right? That's a miracle. Now, she didn't even know that she stuck the snake in the eye. In the morning, after the wedding party, when she took the brooch out of the wall, what happened, Yehuda? The dead snake was stuck to the brooch.
Wow.
Close call. Amalei Avua, her father, Rabbi Akiva, said to her, Ma vadit, what have you done to have such a close escape? Close call. Amalei, what did she say? Bepanya osa anya kroa babava. Here in the afternoon, Rabbi Akiva's daughter got married in the great synagogue. Can you imagine?
She gave tzedakah.
A great wedding feast, remember? A pauper came and stood in the doorway. A schnorrer. And everybody was busy with the smorgasbord and the buffet. And no one heard him. Everybody was busy with the smorgasbord, the Viennese table.
No,
That's the end, okay.
You're not thinking about Viennese table.
On a Viennese table, right? Life is short, begin with dessert. Because you never know, Ephraim, right?
like that.
Life is short, begin with dessert. So anyway, Nebuch, he stood there. Nobody noticed him. So the Kala herself, the great synagogue downstairs, the Kala herself stood up and she what? She gave her portion. And I gave it to him. Armalei, Rabbi Akiva said to her, Mitzvah vadet, you have done a great mitzvah, an act of tzedakah. Nofek Rabbi Akiva v'dorash. Rabbi Akiva expounded the pasuk where in Mishlei, utzedakah tatzil mimovet. Charity saves from death.
Wow.
And not just from natural death, but even from death itself. So if she wouldn't have done this act of charity, Ephraim, she would have been a goner. But somehow, by doing this extra chesed, she catapulted herself above her mazel. Rabbi Nachman, Nami ein mazel Yisrael. Another story, Yehuda. See that? Yes?
But here it shows that the mazel was right.
Okay, so let's talk. We got through it and then we're going to work it out. We can work it out. Okay? Rabbi Nachman, Nami ein mazel Yisrael. Another case that the Jews are not under the astrological signs. The imei de Rab Nachman bar Yitzchak amalei kadoy. Yiddish, Rab Nachman bar Yitzchak, Gene Dixon told his mother, she gets around Gene Dixon. Yiddish, she told Rav Nachman Yitzchak's mother, Bereich Gan Bahava, your son will grow up to be Meir Lansky. Or a Bugsy Siegel, I think.
Right.
Rabbi Yaakov, you see this? She said, your son, little Nachman, is going to be Bugsy Siegel. I see in the crystal ball. You hear this? So what happened? Lo shafkete galu yereshe. She never allowed him to go with his head uncovered. Amrele, she told him, cover your head so that the fear of God will always be on your head. And this is the earliest source. Look at footnote 14, Abraham. This is the earliest source, Yechiel, for what? To wearing a kippah. Ooh. A kippah is called yarmulke. Yehuda, where's that yarmulke? Why is a kippah called yarmulke? Chaim. Yore miyutke. Yarmulke is not Yiddish. It's yore mekah. What's ka? Yutke. Somehow the kippah reminds you that we answer to a higher authority. Yarmulke. How come women don't need a yarmulke, Lingi? Why? We need the physical yarmulke to remind us of a God. Men. Ladies are naturally reminded. So if you're not married, you don't need to cover your hair. When you're married, you have to cover your hair. Al sniut. But if you're not married, you don't need to cover your hair because you ladies are naturally reminded that he's above you. We are verstoppt the cup, men, you know. We need props, talis and tefillin and a yarmulke, Yechiel. We need props to help us focus on him. Ladies are naturally focused. They don't need the props of a yarmulke or talis and tefillin. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, so what's going on over here? What's going on over here? So Rivka raised the question. I'll make the question even stronger. The Gemara in Moed Katan, page 28 says, how long a person lives, how many children he'll have, and how much parnasa he has is not totally in his merits, it's totally in his mazel. You hear this? Moed Katan 28, how long a person will live, how many kids he's going to have, whether he has good parnasa or not, is not totally in his merit, it's totally what? In his mazel. Now mazel doesn't mean luck, mazel means his spiritual flow. And yet, here we see, ein mazel li Yisrael. I'm mixed up. So one Gemara says that everything depends on what? On mazel. And here the Gemara says what? Ein mazel li Yisrael. That we're not under the astrological signs. Right? So how do we reconcile this Gemara? Well, why do you say mazel tov for? When someone has a baby or if something happens, why do you say mazel tov? A blessing on your cup, mazel tov, da 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 da. Why do you say mazel tov for on a happy occasion? Why? If we're not under the astrological signs anyway, so why when a person has a happy occasion you say mazel tov, which means a good flow? Why? What are we saying?
Doesn't it mean good blessing from God?
There's no such thing as luck.
No.
The word mazal from the word nozel. Everyone is born with a spiritual flow or a destiny. So you have a happy occasion. Yehuda, why do you say mazel tov? Have a good flow. Why? You're wishing him what?
Good faith.
Good blessing.
You're telling him, listen to what you're telling him. Just like in a happy event, everyone can see the good flow. Right? You win a sweepstakes, you have a baby, you get married, you have a baby, you win a lottery. Everyone can see that the flow you're getting is what? Good. So all events in life, even if you don't see, you have to know it's good.
Oh, that's good.
That's what you're really saying. I'm glad I came today. Mazel tov. On a happy event, you see that the flow you're getting from him is good. It's plain. So all events in life, even if you don't see it's good, it's good. Even though you don't see it. Sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. It's all good. Sometimes it's tender love. Sometimes, chas v'sholom, it's tough love, but it's all for my good. So when I have a happy occasion, I see that the flow is good. So in all occasions and events in life, you should know it's for the good, even though what, Shalom? You don't. That's what you're really saying when you're saying what? Mazel tov. Okay? Now, what is this mazel that the Gemara in Moed 28 says that everything, what does a person want in life? You don't have the sheets anymore. Now it's my turn.
Okay.
With everything, how long you're going to live, how many kids you'll have or you won't, how much parnosa you have or not, does not depend on your merit. It depends only on mazel. What does that mean? Moed 28 says the Vilna Gaon, mazel ze tafkid shel haneshama migilgul hakodem. Should I repeat it again?
Yes.
Mazal ze tafkid shel haneshama migilgul hakodem. The person's mazel is his tafkid from a previous Gilgal. Tafkid, his mission, his goal. He has unfinished business from a previous lifetime. So he's given this spiritual flow as a tikkun for his previous Gilgal.
Yeah.
Ah. The Vilna Gaon? Evan Shleima, he was very big on that. So the tafkid that we have to finish the tikkun, we're all here. David, we've been recycled many times. What business has got in? I think the recycling business. Yeah, the recycling business. Right, not scrap iron business. Recycling business. The word Gilgal is gematria chesed. Yechiel. You good in gematria? The word Gilgal is gematria chesed. It's a chesed of God that He doesn't give up on us. He keeps recycling us until we get it right. You hear that?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Gilgal gematria chesed. Wow. Chesed haboreh. Now, we say Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, tshuva utfila tzedakah mavirin roa hagezerah. What does that mean? Through tshuva, through repentance, davening and tzedakah, we remove the evil gezerah.
Yeah.
What am I davening for on Yom Kippur? It's all in the cards. What's the roya hagzerah? That's the negative mazel. Person can be born with negative mazel because he has baggage from a previous lifetime. But through tshuva, tefillah, tzedakah, I can change my mazel. I can rise above my spiritual flow. I don't have to accept my negative mazel. Tshuva, tefillah, tzedakah, I can extricate myself from the negative mazel.
What about
What? What about free will? So you have to exercise your free will, right? Now, what are the mazalot? The word mazel comes from the Hebrew nozel, the spiritual flow. So how could Paro know the future? Astrology works, and yet we are forbidden to make use of it, buddy. So, the Abarbanel, the Rambam explained that each star, when you go out, starry night, when you're looking at a star, Ephraim, you're looking at a body of an angel. You hear? The stars, according to the Rambam and the Abarbanel, stars are bodies of malachim. Did you know that? Heavenly body. Hey, just like our neshama needs a guf to accomplish its task on earth, so a malach, a heavenly being, also needs a physical body to accomplish its mission. Its physical body is called what? The stars. Is the stars. And the Rambam says that's what makes the stars rotate on the orbit. It's the neshama, the malach, that animates the star, just like our neshama animates what? our body. So a person is born with certain a spiritual flow that now why do we need stars and angels for? Why is that? Why is that? Why? God's providence works through angels, but the angels work through stars. The angels are, according to Kabbalah, the souls of the stars. Just like our guf contains a neshama, the souls of the stars are what? Are the malachim. So each star is a body of an angel that makes it rotate on its orbit. Okay? So the question is, why are the stars necessary in the link between God and man? Why does the chain of command flow from God, angel, star, and man? So what we call astrology is actually what? The bodies of angels. Why are angels necessary in the chain of command? So how come God doesn't relate to us directly? Why do you need God's Shefa passes through what? Angels or astrology, and then it gets to man. Why do you need that filter for? So the answer is to test us. Does the star have its own power? Does the star have its own power? To believe that the stars and the angels act independently is classic avodah zarah. How does the Rambam call the laws of idolatry? Hilchas avodat kachavim. What does avodat kachavim mean? The worship of the stars. The ancients weren't stupid. They know that their destiny was in the hands of the stars, of the angels. They're not stupid. So why is that idolatry? To believe that an angel or a star can act independently, that's classic avodah zarah. So God set up this system to test us. Does this angel or star have independent power, or is it only a tool in the hand of Hashem? Like a hammer in the hand of a carpenter. That's the analogy I like to give. David.
Yes.
A carpenter builds you a very nice cabinet. So he used a hammer, right? So who do you thank, the hammer or the carpenter? Why don't you thank the hammer? Oh, thank you, hammer. Thank you, hammer. You made me such a beautiful cabinet, Ephraim. You don't thank the hammer. Who do you thank?
The carpenter.
But the hammer built it, no?
No.
Oh, I like this analogy. Kadosh Baruch Hu Kaviyachol is a carpenter. The malachim and the zodiacs are his tools. So are you going to thank the tools in the toolbox? Or are you going to thank what? The carpenter. The ancients, Reuven, made a mistake. Instead of thanking the carpenter, they thanked the toolbox. Who's the toolbox? The angels and the astrology signs. This is a test. Does the star have its own power, classic idolatry, or is it only a tool in the hands of Hashem? Another reason why God had to create this entire system, Shalom, of angels and stars, starry night, says the Rambam, something amazing. In order to increase our awe and respect for Hashem. You ever go to Buckingham Palace? You see the changing of the guard? I did. You're impressed if a king or a queen has a large honor guard. It increases your awe and respect for the king. So therefore God set up this entire system of angels and astrology signs, starry night, says Rambam, in order to impress us. That we should have more awe and glory for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Look at the great honor guard. It gives dignity to the King of Kings. So therefore God doesn't need any help. But it's to increase our awe and respect for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So on a starry night, you see this huge honor guard. It gives us more Yirat Shamayim. Masha, it's all for us. God wants to what? Impress us. So now we have, understand, what is astrology? Right? Astrology, the stars are necessary so the malachim have a body. Just like we have to accomplish a mission. Our neshama in this world can't accomplish a mission without what? A physical body. So malachim also have a mission. And to accomplish their mission on the physical universe, they also need a body. And that body, Ephraim, is called what? Astrology, or stars. Astrology, astronomy, right? Yeah. Astrology. I'm talking about astrology now, right? So how do we sum it up? And then we can talk. All of us in the physical world and in the spiritual world, all of us are part of the Creator's grand plan. There's a grand plan. And all of us, the universe is a giant symphony. All of us have a part to play in this grand plan. Right?
That's right.
Now, the only one who can't play his part correctly is what? Man. A tiger. You, Tony the tiger, I want to be the best tiger I can be. Tony the tiger, remember him?
Yes.
No. A tiger is what he is. Can a malach say, I want to be the best malach I can be? No, malachim, they're programmed robots. They can't fail. The only one that can fail is the maestro. Who's the maestro? Man. We are with the maestro. Only we can fail. The entire universe depends on us. The malach, the tiger, they're all programmed. They can't fail. Their mission is what they are. Who can fail? The maestro. Only man, because only we have free will. So, how do we reconcile? Do we have mazel? Don't we have mazel? God grants a special destiny to each and every one of us. The tools or vehicles that God uses to bestow this destiny on us, what are those tools called, Ephraim? Astrology, angels, or mazalot, which are really the souls of the stars. These tools are spiritual robots, spiritual computers programmed by God to interact with His creation, us. Therefore, angels, like computers, have absolutely no free will to act independently. To believe that any angel or star can act independently is to believe in idolatry. And therefore, the Rambam calls idolatry hilchas avodas kachavim, the worship of what? Of the stars. Like you're worshiping the hammer that built you the what? The cabinet, huh? So every Jew can rise above and change his mazel. We're born with a mazel. We're born with a spiritual package. But our tafkid is what? What? Not to accept it. Break on through to the other side. Break out. God told Abraham in Genesis 15, God took Abraham outside. He took him outside of his what? Talmud and Shabbos says, outside of his destiny. Abraham was a great astrologist, better than Gene Dixon. Shabbos page 156, Your Honor. And when God told him, you're going to have a child, you know what he said to God? I checked my astrological zodiac. I'm not destined to have a child. Do you understand this conversation, Yehuda? Shabbos 156. The creator of the universe, Lingi, says, you're going to have a child. To Abraham. So Abraham says, excuse me, God. I just checked my astrological zodiac sign. I'm not destined to have a child. Hello? The universe, the creator of the universe just told you what? Right. You're going to have a child. And Abraham has a chutzpah to say, excuse me, I checked with Gene Dixon, and I can't have a child.
He said I'm 100 years old.
No, Shabbos 156, Masha, look what it says. Look at the Torah Shabbat Peh. He said, I checked my astrological signs, I can't have a child. The Marsha says, what is he talking about? So he says, Abraham said, God, you're confusing me. Who are the astrological signs? It's your tools. Your tools are telling me, your hammer and your wrench, your zodiacs, your robots are telling me I can't have a child. That's you. And now you're telling me I can. God, make up your mind. The astrological science is also God through his robots, through his tools. So Genesis 15 says, God says, I'm taking you outside of the system. I'm creating a people that is not under the system. You don't need a middleman. Jews don't like middlemen. See, Jews like to pay direct. We don't need middlemen. The rest of the world, they're under Abraham. They're also under God, but there's a system. Call it zodiacs, malachim, angels, planets, hammer and wrench. It's the tools that he uses to control the world. Genesis 15, God told Abraham, I'm taking you outside the system. You don't need the toolbox, Elisheva. The toolbox, that's for the EU and the UN. Throw away the toolbox. I'm creating a people that's outside of the system. Wow. The system says you can't have a child. Throw away the system. Tshuva, tefillah, tzedakah. You break out of the system. You rise above your mazel. You don't have to accept your mazel. Abraham was not destined to have any children. But through prayer and tzedakah, God removed him outside from his destiny. What's another word for destiny, Yechiel? Mazal. Flow. Go with the flow? No, the UN has to go with the flow. We don't have to go with the flow. The EU goes with the flow. Abraham was taken outside. God removed him from his spiritual destiny, Mazel, and gave him children. The lesson for us is that we too can change our personal mazel like Abraham. By changing our behavior, we can rise above our negative mazel.
But anyone can do that.
No, you got to be a Yehudi. You have to be a member of the tribe, Masha. A non-Jew is stuck in his mazel.
But a non-Jew doesn't necessarily...
A non-Jew cannot change, but you're not listening. Astrology. So if it's true, how come a Jew is not allowed to consult it, Ruvain? Because we're lowering ourselves. God says, what do you need the toolbox for? You have a direct relationship with me. You got to go to the toolbox? That's for the UN and the EU. A Jew is forbidden because we're lowering ourselves. God said, you are b'ni b'chor b'Yisrael, bonim atem Hashem Elokeichem. The toolbox is for the rest of humanity. You don't need the toolbox. You're lowering yourself. So therefore, a Jew is not allowed to consult an astrologist. So how come Rabbi Akiva, the Rambam asked the question, not allowed to consult an astrologist, even though it's true, Elisheva? Because you're demeaning yourself. So what about Rabbi Akiva? Why was he nervous about his daughter? So the Rambam answers, you cannot consult them. But if they come to you, you can act on their information. Rabbi Akiva was forbidden to go to Gene Dixon, Chava, but look at the text. You have the sheet in front of you. Did Rabbi Akiva go to Gene Dixon? Side number 2, Yehuda on top. No, Gene Dixon came to him. See number 2 on top? So we learn halacha. You cannot consult them, buddy, but if they come to you, you can what? Accept it. Because it's true. So why can't you go to them? You're demeaning yourself. God said, pasnish fadir. How do you say that in Yiddish? It's pasnish, Rivka. It's pasnished. It's not matim for a Yehudi to go to a toolbox.
This is the only reason a non-Jew should convert is to change his...
Oh, beautiful. Yehuda said that's why a non-Jew wants to change his spiritual flow. He got to become a Jew boy or a Jew girl. Otherwise, you're stuck under the system. Keep the 7, go to heaven, yes, but you're locked in to the system. You want to rise above, you have to join the tribe. So all the questions are answered. Are we on the mazel or aren't we?
No.
You make the call. You make the call. You're born with a mazel. Our test in life is what, Yechiel? Will we accept it, or we shall overcome? They got everything from us. Now you can accept it and live with it, because that's your package from a previous lifetime, your tafkid from a previous Gilgal. But you can break out, and God wants me to break. That's my test. To rise above. Genesis 15:5. God took him outside. Outside of what? His spiritual mazel, flow, destiny, toolbox. It's up to you. Are we on the mazel or not? You make the call. It's up to us.
How do you break out?
Tshuva, tefillah, tzedakah. Maddie, you say it every Rosh Hashanah and Kippur. Tshuva, utfila tzedakah ma'virin roya hagezerah. What does that mean? To tshuva till tzedakah, you can remove your. What's roya hagezerah mean? Evil mazel. It means negative mazel. You've got to change your evil ways. You can rise above. Roya hagezerah chayim is mazel ra. From a previous Gilgal. That's what my neshama needs. But I don't have to accept it. Through tshuva, tefillah, tzedakah, I can break out. Who taught me that? Abraham. He did tshuva, he prayed, and he gave a lot of charity. So therefore he broke out. Catapulted above the robots, the computers. But you don't want to work? Bavakashah. Bavakashah. So you see, Yechiel, the Gemara doesn't. One Gemara says we're stuck on the mazel. Other Gemara says we're not. You make the call. What? Avraham was worshiping idols. Remember the Rambam? The Rambam was idol worship. Then he did tshuva. Whatever. He was an idol worshiper, right? Abraham worshipped idols. He did tshuva, and he davened, and he gave tzedakah. So God, achutza, God took him out. Genesis 15:5. What does achutza mean?
Took him out.
Outside of what? The system. Whether it's called angels, mazolot, robots, it's all God's tools.
That's right.
You see? The ancients weren't that stupid, Yehuda. They thanked the hammer instead of the carpenter. Well, the hammer did build them the no? Who built you the cabinet, Masha? The hammer, no? Oh, thank you, hammer. I like the analogy. It's perfect. The hammer can't do anything if the carpenter doesn't yield it. Yeah. Carpenter, the mazolot, the angels, the stars, it's all what? God's tools, robots. But the ancients thought they have independent power. That's classic idolatry. Okay? I think you had a question, Elisheva. Fire away, I'm all ears.
Well, I was just going to say the difference between astrology and astronomy.
Okay.
Isn't astronomy the way God made it, and astrology is this man-made science?
Oh, no, astrology is
or religion,
the study of the stars that are angels that do filter God's shefa down to the world. I don't know what astronomy is, so that's a separate topic.
Science
Of
the
stars, the planets.
that I don't know.
The influence the stars have on us.
That's astrology.
No, astronomy is a
Astronomy
science.
just tells you where the stuff
Astrology
is.
is not a science.
Astronomy tells you where the stuff is. People do study this.
So the stars do hold power over us because they're God's tools, robots.
That's right.
But we don't have to accept it through tshuva, tefillah, tzedakah. How do you say tshuva? Repentance, prayer, and charity. A person can break out of the system, but only a Jew can do that.
Right.
A non-Jew, he's stuck in
Only
the...
a Jew can do that.
Because
Why can't anybody?
Because that
Because we're in the truth.
because only God gave that power to Abraham's tribe. That unique power to break out of the system, Yechiel, was given over to Abraham and his children. Okay?
Yes.
Other nations of the world, you can be righteous and fine, but you have to accept your mazel. You cannot break out. Your flow, right? Your destiny, it's not luck. Mazel from the Hebrew nozel.
That means Ishmael,
Flow. What?
Ishmael also came from Abraham. Does he have...
No, that's only Yehudim. That's
so You're
Yehudi.
not talking about Abraham, you're talking about...
You're talking about Abraham through Am Yisrael.
That's right.
Okay, Yaakov, but Abraham gave it to Yitzchak, Yitzchak gave it to Yaakov. Good point.
So we get the mazel from Yaakov, not from Abraham.
But Abraham gave it to Yitzchak and to Yaakov.
Yeah, but the Arabs could say, hey, wait a minute,
Okay.
we got mazel too because...
Okay.
Abraham.
They can say what they want, but this unique power is only given to the seed of Abraham that passes to Yitzchak and Yaakov. Good point.
And also
To Yitzchak and
Sarah.
Yaakov only.
It's Sarah's son, not
Mazel came out of
Hagar's son.
Yaakov.
But God said, Kibi Yitzchak yikar lecha zara. God said, Yitzchak will be your true seed. Yitzchak, not Abu Mamzer.
Right.
Check the book of Genesis. Kibi Yitzchak yikar lecha zara.
This is Arab.
Your spiritual descendants will be Yitzchak, not Ishmael. So only Yitzchak had that power given to Yaakov, yes?
Eretz Israel, because we are descendants of Israel.
Of Yitzchak.
Of Yitzchak.
Yitzchak,
Arabs can
okay.
say, this
They
is
can say
Eretz
what they
Abraham.
want.
This is Eretz Abraham.
Right.
We're
Well,
entitled to it.
Kibi Yitzchak yikar lecha zara. God says, Yitzchak, that's your spiritual descendants. Not Abu Mamzer. Okay, any other questions? Thank you very much. Chag Sameach.